But what happens when the person in the driver's seat says, we're not going that way. We're going this way, and we're going this way because I am the person that's elected. I'm Antwann Michael, and this is the breakdown. Y'all get in here, y'all get in here, y'all get in here. The billionaire class has spoken out against what Donald Trump is doing. This coming in from Forbes, that billionaires, including Elon Musk, speak out over global market meltdown and Trump tariffs. So the group is inclusive of Elon Musk, Jamie Dimon, who's over JP Morgan Chase, Bill Ackman, who's a huge hedge fund manager, Daniel Loeb, Larry Fink, and others. Not the billionaires finding out that Trump is not really on their team. So they were okay with rolling back equity, inclusion, and diversity efforts on college and university campuses across the nation. They were okay with the reproductive rights of women being stripped away. They were okay with people that have no criminal history whatsoever, people who have not been given due process being sent over to El Salvador. They were okay when the price of eggs and everything else was skyrocketing. They were okay when federal workers were lined up outside the building to find out whether or not they had a job. All of that was fine until the chicken came home to roost. And now that they are losing money by the millions and billions in the market, now it is a problem. Because now what they have found out is that Trump does not want money. Trump wants power. Because power can bring you money. But money does not always bring you power. And as a matter of fact, sometimes money can reduce your power and your authority in society. Hey, Elon Musk. So now the billionaire class is beginning to have a very real conversation about what happens. They paid all of this money to get Trump into the White House. All of this money. And now look what has happened. Now they're having conversations about how do we roll these policies back? How do we convince him to stop digging into our wallets? Because the goal in my mind, right now, these are just my theoretical assertions and just me thinking out loud here. The goal is to weaken the nation state in such a way that it is made subject to him and everybody within that nation state, including the billionaire class. But those who are in the billionaire class are used to calling the shots, not being told what to do. And in this particular case, the one thing that Trump is making very, very clear is that he is the president, that he makes the decisions, that he rolls out what does and does not happen. And this single thing alone represents an issue for Elon Musk, Jamie Dimon, and dare I also say the Heritage Foundation, because they have their agenda, they have all of their things. But what happens when the person in the driver's seat says, we're not going that way. We're going this way, and we're going this way because I am the person that's elected. Is it possible? Is it possible that we will begin to see some folks reach across the aisle to get some things done? Just like those senators who voted against those tariffs for Canada. Is there a larger awakening, a larger aha moment happening here? Not that I'm saying that this is going to be the great societal reconciliation moment. I would never assert that. But what I do think is interesting is that the billionaire class has messed around and found out, because I don't know if I can say that other word, it's TikTok, but they have messed around and found out that there is something more than money that is desirable. And that something is power. And that power concedes nothing freely nor easily, right? I give you, your tax adjustments over here and different things of that sort. But what I want to do on the world stage is this, right? And then also on some level, knowing and not caring the impact that will have not only in the everyday lives of those of us within the United States, but also not caring about the impact that it will have for those who were at Mar-a-Lago golfing with him, for those that gave millions and millions of dollars to his campaign. And this backed up against a person who wants to take troops and place them at the southern border, which potentially runs the risk of them popping up in cities across the United States. Watch this space. This gets very, very interesting because when a certain class becomes impacted, now we all sit back and watch, right? I feel like Miss Sealy, when she went up the steps to take Suge her breakfast and she slid it under the door, for those of y'all who saw Color Purple, and she ran over into the corner. She said, I want to see what type of mess she gonna make on the wall this time. Because now this class of persons have made a mess. And let's see what lands on the wall. This is very, very interesting to see that seemingly the billionaire class is concerned because now their pockets are being impacted. But there was no concern when everyone else's pockets were being impacted. As a matter of fact, the Secretary of Commerce said, oh, well, if you happen to miss your Social Security check, hold on for a minute. Watch this.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month. Yeah. A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
So now things get real interesting when the policies now become a problem. The one lesson that this nation, I would argue the world, has not learned is that when working class people, regardless of gender, ethnicity, race, when working class people are impacted by the economy, it will not be too long before it makes its way up. Because working class, middle class folk are the economy. They are the means of production. They quite literally run the economic lifeblood of the nation. And so when this particular class of persons was okay with the working class, with middle class folk being negatively impacted by policies and not doing anything about that, not saying, hey, those are my workers, I'm going to speak up because I understand that when my workers are happy, we have higher production levels and we can get things done. When that right there refused to be addressed, that let me know that it would not be long before the rooster would crow. And we are here. Let's see what comes of it. This is The Breakdown. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.